Has Mehdi Taremi played his final match for FC Porto? Last season, we saw Mehdi Taremi win the Golden Boot in the Portuguese League with FC Porto, getting 20 goals and 13 assists in 32 matches, helping FC Porto win the Super Cup and Portuguese Cup. Since his arrival in Portugal back in 2019, he has only gotten better and better, aging like fine wine. I've spoken about it in previous videos a year ago that Taremi should make the move to the Premier League, and it could finally happen, with the transfer window being absolutely dog for Iranian national team players. And I will do a video talking about those transfers, so make sure you're subscribed if you enjoy Iranian national team content. Unlike for other Iranian players, it has been an exciting transfer window for Taremi, with many big clubs interested in signing him. Manchester United, AC Milan, Inter Milan, and now it's looking like Tottenham want to push a move for him as the club's replacement for Harry Kane. Taremi could become the most expensive transfer in Iranian history, with currently the highest transfer being Alireza Jahanbakhsh with his move from AZ Alkmaar to Brighton Hove Albion, and less the said the better for that transfer. But based on all the clubs interested in him, what do I think should be the next step for Mehdi Taremi? Mehdi Taremi is 31 years old with 1 year left on his contract at FC Porto, and he has 2 to 3 top years left in the tank in my opinion. This will always be my stance. He should either make a move to the Premier League or just stay at FC Porto for the rest of his career, with maybe a small stint to finish off in the MLS. What the fuck? I'm not a fan of him going to Serie A to join AC Milan or Inter Milan, regardless if you think he fits that playing style. It was reported he was on the brink of signing with AC Milan, having personal terms agreed upon with a 4-year contract. But FC Porto kept upping their asking price till the deal broke down. And it's being reported that Inter Milan are trying to make a hard push to sign him, but FC Porto keep on rejecting their offers. In my opinion, joining either of those two clubs is not an upgrade from FC Porto. Outside of last season, generally both Milan clubs go not as far or as far as FC Porto in the Champions League, and he will not win as many trophies, if any, compared to at FC Porto, plus won't be as loved or valued as he is at Porto. So I don't think a move to either of the Milan clubs would be a big enough upgrade. Because of his age, he only has a small window where it's now or never. That's why I feel if he's gonna make a move, the Premier League is the best option. Manchester United were linked to him early on in the transfer window, and I felt that was the best move for him from all the scenarios. He fits the system that the club plays, and I felt he was the missing key that they needed, where I feel they are a Taremi at striker away from being true title contenders in the Premier League, where instead they went with Anthony Martial 2.0, Rasmus Højlund. But in surprise fashion, at the end of the transfer window, Tottenham seemed to be on the brink of signing Taremi. Reports are Tottenham have gotten the green light from Mehdi Taremi. Now everything is dependent on FC Porto to sell him. Despite not playing Champions League football, do I think this would be a good move for him? Yes, but do I think the transfer will go over the line? I'm not really sure, but leaning more towards probably not. And it looks like I was right. A deal had finally been agreed on by Tottenham and Bayern Munich for the sale of Harry Kane, where we just recently saw his Bayern Munich debut. LOL! That component was probably the biggest factor that we needed to see happen. The issue is FC Porto is set on a 30 million euro price tag for Taremi, which we know for owners like Daniel Levy, and we've already seen from the Milan clubs, that's not money they want to spend on him. And I can't really blame him for not wanting to pay that much money, and at the same time, I can't really blame FC Porto for trying to maximize this sale. We have seen a handful of Iranians play in the Premier League, but not one truly be successful in the league. Maybe minus Ashkan Dajaga at Fulham. I know the Iranian Premier League curse scares a lot of Iranians for Taremi to make a move to the Premier League, but if there is any Iranian that can break this curse, that would be Mehdi Taremi, because he is someone in my eyes that has the ability that can cut it in the Premier League. But in more woke terms, he's got that dog in him. Regardless of no Champions League football, the Premier League is the biggest and best league in the world, with everyone watching that league. If Taremi can score anywhere between 15 to 20 goals, which I think he easily can, it would really put him on the map to possibly even make a bigger move with a year or two left in the tank to make that next jump in his career. Metric-wise, Taremi is the best B-Tech version of Kane, so this would be the perfect stopgap replacement for Tottenham, and the possible link-up with fellow Asian forward Son Heung-min would be absolutely nutty. But honestly, after thinking about it and letting all of this simmer, and seeing what fans from those clubs thought about bringing in Mehdi Taremi, which weren't kind words to say the least, I'd say fuck him. Just stay at FC Porto. Taremi deserves a big move for what he's done in the Portuguese League the past 4 years. We have seen numerous players in the Portuguese League in the past 4 years who have done less get big moves to the Premier League. We've seen in previous transfer windows, and now Taremi has just kind of been teams' last minute pickups in transfer windows when they desperately need a striker, because teams weren't able to sign their first choice options. And we're seeing it yet again. Inter Milan trying to wrap up a deal at the end of the window, window because they don't have any other strikers. And Tottenham desperately trying to sell Harry Kane because they've been so stupid when it comes to selling him. And they let this deal happen so late on in the transfer window that they now need a #1 striking option. In my eyes, if Mehdi Taremi is just going to be all these clubs' sloppy seconds, he should just stay at FC Porto. I know the club is on a downwards trend, but at the end of the day, no coach like Conceição or club like FC Porto will love Taremi as much as they do. FC Porto took the risk on signing at the time some mid-Iranian striker where so many other teams passed up on him because he's Iranian. That has played a role in this transfer saga for Taremi because I truly believe if he was from Europe or South America, he would have gone that big move. If people weren't able to see the name and nationality and just look at his stats for the past 3 years, any team that needed a striker would have taken him in a heartbeat. And I don't want to hear none of these stupid excuses because he's too old. There have been countless strikers who peaked later in their careers like Vardy or Giroud, where we saw their best years in their late 20s, early 30s. The reason we're seeing Taremi get better with age is because he didn't play much football at a young age or at a high level, because in Iran at a certain age you're required to do military service for 2 years, which were years taken out of his footballing career. There are various reports that Taremi would like to move on from FC Porto but is ready to extend his contract. If the club is willing to accept his demands, which one of the big ones is reducing his release clause from 60 million euros to 30 million euros, which I think is a great idea for both parties involved, because if a bigger club is interested in signing him, they can bypass having to deal with FC Porto and go straight to negotiations with Taremi, which we saw in this transfer window, his price tag being the biggest issue for FC Porto being willing to let him go. But if renewing his contract is on the table, he should look to extend his deal for another 3 years and stick with the club that, unlike all other clubs, looked past him because he was some mid-striker, or should I say because he's Iranian. Mehdi Taremi should become a club legend for one of the most historic clubs in the world, FC Porto, who are the most historic club in Portugal. Then after the 2026 World Cup, to close off his career, he should come to the best team in MLS, the Seattle Sounders. But boys and girls, my opinion only matters so much. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know which club do you guys think Mehdi Taremi will sign for, be it Tottenham or Inter Milan. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure to smash the like button on today's video, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and I hope you'll have a lovely day.